Welcome everywhere to the last series of today for this channel, and well, probably for HeflaTV 1 as well. But this is VG Gaming Potential going up against Newbee.Y in this 2-game series, a best of 2. And well, I do believe this is the first game for both teams here, so definitely want to start with a win if they can. And if you're wondering what the hell this series is, it is the Douyu Dota 2 Cup. A really long and somewhat thrown out format because it's a group stage, or round robin group stage that is, with best of 2s all around, 8 team group, plus all the teams get to the playoffs so nobody really drops out. But here we are, I'm Couchor, I'm going to be joined by Mike as well. And Mike, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. Hopefully everything sounds fine and everything like that, since this isn't my normal setup, but we should be able to get through that anyway. Just looking at the prize distribution, teams get money just from being here, unless they like drop out of this tournament or something like that. So hey, it sounds like a not terrible deal, I suppose. But yeah, 8,000, 9,000 something euro for first place, whatever equivalent that is in yuan. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean, that really justifies the format as well. I mean, since everybody is getting money, you can make it like more drawn out. You can get the teams to invest their time into just the long group stage and the playoffs to follow as well, if they're guaranteed some money at least. So a nice approach. But coming to the draft here, it is Newbee.Y picking themselves up a Shadow Fiend and a Rubik, whereas VG Gaming a Clockwork Storm Spirit opening. And I must say, I'm not sure if it's just the Chinese games I've been watching lately, but Rubik is becoming a pretty popular pick.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much correct across the board, not just in the Chinese region. He does quite a lot of things, and at the bare minimum, Rubik has a point-click stun. And sometimes that's really all you need. He's generally not as clunky as a Lion, who, of course, also has a point-click stun, but the extra flexibility you have of being able to drag people out, especially when you're going up against heroes like Clockwork, and with the Shadow Fiend, who really needs that positioning edge, Rubik just gets so much better. He, of course, always has that X factor of spell steal, and you could look at, what's good to steal and whatnot, but early on, Rubik does his job pretty much perfectly because he can move people around, and there aren't many heroes that could actually do that.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have the telekinesis, just throw him away, further away if you need to just save somebody, or of course pull him in if you need to just gank him. But next set of bans, a Broodmother removed from the game, as well as an Earthshaker. I mean, Broodmother at the moment at least. VG Gaming, they wouldn't really have the best of heroes to deal with the Spiderlings. Not the worst either, with just Static Remnants as well as Rocket Flares, but it's just you have to focus so much of your attention towards the Broodmother during the laning phase. You won't have supports really just messing around with the enemy mid laner, for example, and whatnot. So I think banning out Broodmother is like fine in most situations.
Yeah, and someone's probably going to be doing that most of the time in any given game, just because she is such a freaking annoying hero. I like how VG Gaming was started with just a ton of initiations. Storm Spirit, Clockwork generally fill kind of similar roles in a team. They're just the first ones to go in. They're the first ones to start that pickoff. And if you have both of them, that means Newbee.Y can't get either of them. So they have the ability to jump on these heroes. Queen of Pain now picked up alongside the Shadow Fiend as the 2-core for Newbee.Y, but Queen of Pain, though she is kind of susceptible to this initiation, she's a little bit more resistant to it. Shadow Fiend, Rubik, definitely not as much. So VG Gaming already looking like they want to get quite a few picks on the board, and they can do it very easily, of course, once they get those level 6s. The problem is actually getting there, because these heroes before level 6 typically tend to struggle.
Yeah, it's the hardest part, but oh, Winter Wyvern is picked up for them now, so that, I guess you can use him as an initiation form as well, just pop your ultimate on somebody, go on them that way, but it is something defensive as well at the moment. Like you said, the first 2 heroes extremely aggressive with initiation and whatnot, but now they have some form of support backing them up as well. But Newbee will go for Elena, definitely a strong hero to go for, and telekinesis into Light Striker, a Dragon Slave, and if you also have it, a Laguna Blade, it is an extremely easy way to just blow up the Storm Spirit and combo that up with the burst of Queen of Pain. They can just do so much AoE damage, and heroes that just are innocent bystanders can also be dying from it.
They have a lot of magical damage as well, and pure even, so Winter Wyvern's Embrace is certainly going to be nice for VG, it always is, but it's not really going to be brickwalling anyone. Like, there's no Spirit Breaker on Newbee.Y's side, not yet, or at any rate, so yeah, just trying to minimize the impacts of a defensive Winter Wyvern. Obviously, Winter Wyvern, most of the time, going to be going for that Glimmer Cape, so he is going to be offering some magic resistance to the team, but then that's where the pure damage comes into play, and Winter Wyvern suddenly becomes a lot worse hero. Curse, Splinter Blast, like, these are all good tools to have, but Newbee.Y definitely mitigating the effects of the Wyvern as VG Gaming potential. Grab a Night Stalker, so definitely on the aggressive train now. Winter Wyvern kind of seems like a lost hero at this point, but hey, if you get locked down the early game, the Winter Wyvern can make it to those secondary set of items, and Newbee.Y, they are very susceptible to this Night Stalker. They have a couple of stuns, they have the blink, but these are all very soft heroes across the board.
Night Stalker, now it's up to us to like figure out whether it's going to be a support, but considering they already have a Clockwork, well, I guess Night Stalker can farm the safe lane or go into the mid lane still. Being up against a Shadow Fiend, probably safe lane if he's going to be in the farming role, but we've seen Moscow 5 or Screen Squad run Night Stalker support rather often in the past, so it's something that can definitely work out, and the Crippling Fear is one excellent way in dealing with the Queen of Pain. And to be honest, apart from the Crippling Fear and Storm Spirit's Electric Vortex, they don't have the greatest ways of dealing with the Queen of Pain.
Queen of Pain right now, I mean, she has Vortex Silence, and Silence does get ridiculous later on when it's nighttime, and it actually is not level 1, because level 1 Crippling Fear is okay, but not exactly anything to write home about. It is going to be a Naga Siren last for Newbee.Y, so going to start this game off with a little bit of a snooze fest hero, at least if she's going to be that carry hero. She is kind of resistant to the Night Stalker in that whoever is going to get dove, you just sing or net him down, or you can even mirror image out the slow of the void. But is this Naga Siren actually going to be played as a core? Because you can very easily run cores or supports on, well, Lina, Naga Siren, or even Rubik.
I think it's going to be in a core role. I kind of hope that it's going to be a core role because, well, I suppose if your only goal is to stop the aggression with the song, you can also be in the support role, but I'm not too sure if he or she is going to provide enough. But we'll see how they want to run this. I would definitely favor just Lina and Rubik running around as the support duo, setting up kills, especially on the pre-level 6 Storm Spirit. But of course, I guess Ensnare and Light Stalker can accomplish more or less of the same thing. But yeah, I think it's going to be a Naga core.
Right, so it's going to be Naga core. As I said before, she is resistant, makes the entire team resistant to the Night Stalker. Would the Anti-Mage have been a better pick here? Because Anti-Mage is obviously, kind of similarly resistant to that Night Stalker. He gets the blink after a Manta Style. You keep yourself very resistant to that hero. And up against Storm Spirit, you would rather have an Anti-Mage on your team 10 times out of 10 over a Naga Siren. I can't help but think that Newbee.Y may be missing something here. That could be, jacking up their power level across the board a little bit.
Yeah, maybe they could just do with a little bit of proper initiation. That's something that they might be lacking. Just because otherwise you're gonna have to get close enough with a Rubik to like telekinesis somebody, or well, maybe a Song of Siren, but early on it's gonna be on just such a long cooldown, 3 minutes, and that's not really all that reliable. Whereas VG Gaming, especially now with the Ember Spirit also picked up, they just have so many ways to initiate and just poke from afar as well. It's VG Gaming, unless they like get crushed in the laning phase completely early on, they should be able to make a hell of a lot happen once their heroes hit level 6.
For sure, they have mobility for days. Fortunately, Newbee.Y have an okay amount of CC. They have the telekinesis, they have the LSA. They have Song of Siren net as like kind of soft CC to deal with these heroes, but VG are going to get in and out of fights very, very quickly. The only concern of this Ember Spirit is, will I get anything in the laning stage? And up against the heroes from Newbee, that is by no means guaranteed. He is probably actually going to go towards the safe lane, but across the board, VG Potential's lanes are kind of weak. Like Winter Wyvern and Night Stalker as supports, not really good at that poking role. They will very easily get out-poked. Ember Spirit's a melee hero. Storm Spirit is a range hero technically, but he has the lane control of a melee hero, or of a hero with only 400-something range. So Newbee.Y have the chance to get very far ahead in this laning stage simply because they have better laning heroes, and it looks like they might abuse that by putting dual lanes actually in their as their loadout.
Well, it may or may not work out for them. It's Something that, if you can catch the enemy off guard with them not expecting it, it can be just fine. And oh, we might even get a small sandwich, although doggy fight, Night Stalker. Don't think he has scouted it out, although Lina now just throws in a few attacks and that's gonna be it. But to actually introduce the lineups as well, for VG Gaming potential doggy fights is gonna be on the Night Stalker, leaving James to be the Winter Wyvern, as wow, XLL is on the Ember Spirit, Yang to be the Clockwork, and the last one is gonna be Lin on the Storm Spirit. And it is rare to see a Chinese team with proper names.
It's definitely a change of pace for sure. Piao is going to be poking on the bottom lane as the Queen of Pain up against the Clockwork Cogs. You really don't want to be messing with that. We'll see how suicidal she wants to be for this bounty rune. Looks like not very. It's going to be a 1-1 split. We got SC on the Shadow Fiend. Should be going mid with MR on the Rubik. And then we have Melody Lovers on the Naga Siren. How freaking appropriate. And Douyu is going to be playing the Lina. This is a Null Talisman opening Lina. It looks like it is going to be a support Siren supporting a Lina. Just going with the dual lane of I'm going to ensnare you into an LSA and hope that's enough. Yeah, as dangerous as this Lina Naga Siren lane are, gotta remember that it's a Lina and it's a Naga Siren. They're not really that durable, and even though Night Stalker and Winter Wyvern, they don't really have a lot in the poking department, when they actually decide to go in and get kills, Arctic Burn has a hell of a long cooldown, but it does do quite a bit of damage, and they have a lot of slows so that this Ember Spirit could actually get close enough to get in range with Searing Chains, and eventually even that Flame Guard, keeping himself resistant to the aggressive power of Newbee.Y. So, though they do have the ability to lock them down, it will be a lot more difficult to actually get those kills, because even though they have the lockdown, they have to work through Cold Embrace. And right now, they don't really have that much spell damage. It's pretty much all right clicks after the CC.
So, looks like I wasn't the only one starting to get lag, so it was the entire server for the players as well. For a second I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to reconnect, but might have been on everybody's end instead, so they do unpause now. As on the bottom lane, Yang is level 2 on the Clockwork. It's not that easy as a Rubik to really zone out the Clockwork by yourself, in all honesty. Especially since Queen of Pain early on, yes, you can throw away level 1 Shadow Strike, but as long as Clockwork has enough mana for the Cogs and isn't completely out of position, he should be fine. Then again, if you Cogs and Rubik gets the telekinesis straight after, he can throw you like behind or in front of your own Cogs, depends on which way you're looking at it, and you might get blocked by them.
It's always a dangerous situation on bottom lane. As you said, there are so many things that can go terribly, terribly wrong when you're messing with power cogs, and granted they do have 2 range heroes, but Queen of Pain with her spells don't really have a lot of range to work with. Like Scream of Pain and Shadow Strike both need pretty close proximity to get those done, and over towards mid we actually have a rotation in for Melody Lovers. Net not going to be thrown just yet. The ganking Naga Siren is ultimately not that effective, but this Lina on the top lane really needs a little bit of help if she's going to get much done, because these levels are coming up on the VG potential support heroes. Night Stalker doesn't need that much. Winter Wyvern, though, has his defensive skill, has his offensive skill, and really that's all that they need to kill off this Lina, as we have seen before.
I totally know what the Naga Siren needs now. Needs a 5th ability that gives him like invis for a couple of seconds.
Camouflage.
Camouflage.
She's a lizard.
If she's coming through the water, she gets camouflaged, you know?
That sounds very fair and balanced.
Absolutely.
Are you Ice Frog?
I am. I'm his little nephew.
Okay. Confirmed, guys. HeflaTV is hired. We're like all up in Ice Frog. Yang on bottom lane, a little bit of trouble, puts up the cogs, but it catches Piao inside. And I think that actually would have mattered if the Queen of Pain got bumped back, but instead Piao taking a couple seconds and will get shot down by the tower. I think if she just hugged the bottom of the cogs, it was out of tower range. Or hugged the top of the bottom cog. You know what I mean.
It would have been close, but I think, yes, you are correct, she would have been out of it, but she was probably like, yeah, tower, ain't that painful, but she learned the hard way. Mid lane, Lin taking quite a bit of damage just from, I think it was 1 Shadow Race plus a couple of attacks there as well. But Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, 15 and 9 compared to 11 and 2 Storm Spirit. Doing really well for himself, of course. Storm Spirit has had to back off at least once. when Melody Lovers came by. But look at this now, Melody Lovers just sitting by himself on the top lane, whereas Lina, the one who we all expected to farm with the item loadout at the start, just trying to roam around secure runes.
I guess that still is the plan. LSA gonna connect onto the Storm Spirit, but he does grab that invis, plus it just hits nighttime. It looks like that's not gonna find anyone just yet, but yeah, Lina can't really farm on this top lane. Even with or without the Naga Siren at this point, because Ember Spirit should have level 2. Oh, it actually doesn't have any points in Flame Guard. That's actually really surprising. Okay, well now he has 1, but yeah, you would expect him to just get a little bit of extra Flame Guards. Considering how much slow he already has in the lane, you can get a lot of immolation damage with this shield.
Oh, are we gonna get the gank of sorts in the mid lane? Melody Lovers is close by, but Dogfight is gonna come and get the slow onto the Shadow Fiend, but that Void, being level 1, does almost no damage to the Shadow Fiend.
So Shadow Fiend's gonna back off. Lyn is pretty close to that level 6 mark, and though they would love to go for this kill as soon as nighttime hits, the nighttime difference for the Night Stalker right now isn't really that huge. I mean, it's 1 point hunter the night. 20% movement speed is pretty sweet, but outside of that, you can definitely do a lot better for yourself. He's gonna make his rotation all the way down to the bottom lane, where he's looking for this Rubik. There is no hook shot for the Clockwork, but if he gets close enough for Batter Assault, that may very well be a kill. Sounds like Rubik a little bit too late to cancel Telekinesis. Now Dogfight's dropping low. Looks like they will have to fall back. That was just a little bit slow on Spell Comber. Now Piao actually might blink forward for more. She will, right over the cogs, gets the kill on the Clockwork. And that is going to be that, with Melody Lovers coming around from the side. Dogfights will be able to back off, but that was supposed to be a gank on Newbee.Y, but it didn't really look like it.
Yeah, slight miscalculation there. As a Night Stalker, in general, when you're up against heroes that can either like blink away or disable you in return, you want to start with the silence. And if he was close enough for the Void, or he was close enough for the Crippling Fear top lane, Lina probably gonna lose his life. Does get Searing Chains up, but well, he tried his damnedest to at least get the Ember Spirit in return, but just not enough damage. Only level 4. Had he had 1 extra level 3 Dragon Slave maybe would have been enough. As Lyn takes a huge amount of damage, but being level 6, just ball lightnings away. Does make it so that Shadow Fiend gets the rune at least, but not that big of a deal.
It's pretty awkward trades going across the board. Like, the Lina getting picked off, like, yeah, at this point it's kind of expected, but you'd expect VG potentially to be getting all the picks and not losing many heroes in response. They're gonna Sonic Wave Yang down towards the bottom lane, put the cogs up, but he's completely trapped right now. Fade Bolt to get the kill, and Clockwork is down again. Still not at that level 6 mark, not like that'll help him a ton, but yeah, starting to really feel the pain of this Queen of Pain's Magic Burst combo. She's only level 6 at this point, so the Magic Burst will get stronger, and Clockwork is not really getting that much to make him any more resistant to it.
Yeah, at least Clockwork is still getting reasonable levels, although 3 deaths is maybe a little bit too much, 7 minutes in considering you were up against a dual lane. Of course, even if it was just a solo versus solo lane, Clockwork against Queen of Pain would still have a really good time, but wouldn't really expect Rubik to be that disruptive. But I guess it's just the power of Telekinesis, being able to pull him behind his own cogs or just mess around with him a little bit like that. Does give them a slight advantage, but I'd still think that this Clockwork is doing much better than the Lina, for example. I mean, both level-wise and just the fact that Clockwork can do so much more with less farm and less levels than the Lina can.
Yeah, only a level 4 Lina is not exactly a giant threat right now. She's basically just a walking Light Strike array. Dragon Slave does an okay amount of damage, but again, it's nothing fantastic. There is a pretty aggressive Observer Ward here from the Dire side in the Radiant jungle, so they are looking to soon step up their aggression in a big way. Problem is that Ember Spirit doesn't really want to go for that. Winter Wyvern, same exact deal. Plus Yang, not quite at that level 6 mark, so I'm not sure if this Observe Ward is actually going to do that much. Though this is part of their game plan, it's also going to hit daytime, well, pretty much soon, pretty much now actually, so yeah, as far as going aggressive for VG potential, they need more time. They need to get drums on Ember Spirit first if he's going to join those fights. They need to get a couple more levels across the board.
So if they just take things slow, that of course means that Shadow Fiend can easily farm up. Bottles up a haste rune now as well, but SEC on the Shadow Fiend, do you think he's gonna build a mech? I mean, he does have the double iron branches in the inventory.
Yeah, I mean, going for mech in this game seems like what you have to do because you're going to be aggressed upon. You have to be ready to fight as a Shadow Fiend. Eul Scepter for Requiem combos, whatnot, going to be super ineffective against VG potential because they have so much mobility. They're going to jump right in up towards top. Dewey's going to get pulled in immediately. Triple jump in from the Ember Spirit. That goes. He's going to kill off the Lina. Melody Lover's dropping low as well. Lyn's going to grab that one, plus Splinter Blast, slowing down the Shadow Fiend a little bit, but he does have that haste. Mirror is going to get caught though, and he will drop to someone. Sonic Wave through will snatch a Storm Spirit. However, as Piao does join this fight, James is going to try to heal himself through, but that's not going to happen. It's a double kill for the Queen of Pain, as the Ember Spirit does slip away. Ultimately, a 3 for 2 for VG potential, though it does get a lot of gold for the Queen of Pain. It similarly gets a lot of gold for the Storm Spirit and Ember Spirit.
Yeah, and important to note out is that the tower did also go down. It was destroyed by the tire, so nobody in particular got a heap of gold for it, but it just didn't get denied, so not too bad at all for VG potential. Plus, it did buy some time for the Clockwork to just try to farm up, get something going for himself as well. Is about to hit level 7, has the hook shot, has Tranquil Boots as well. Little bit short on mana for the most part, but should still be fine.
Yeah, especially since now it seems like Newbee.Y are a little bit more willing to rotate their heroes around. That means it's going to be less likely it's going to be 2-3 heroes on the bottom lane shutting down Yang's farm. So he's definitely guaranteed a little bit of experience. But still, if you consider the situation, level 6 Clockwork, level 7 Clockwork up against level 6 Lina, I would still say the Lina has a pretty decent edge there, assuming she doesn't get hit with the hook shot, because she is working on some levels right now and she does have her Laguna Blade up. So this Lina is a threat. Maybe not as high as a Clockwork, but still, if she has any sort of help in landing the LSA, then heroes will be dropping from VG potential.
So I think VG potential, they might try to go for something with the 2 heroes in the bottom lane. They have the Cold Embrace as well, or Winter Scourge rather, if necessary. And oh, Clockwork does get scouted out by Piao. Doesn't have the Sonic Wave, so preemptive Cogs by Clockwork and should be just fine to escape here. But we do have XLL on the Ember Spirit closing in as well. Doesn't quite have his drums, but he's about 200 gold away from it.
They're going to walk into the Shadow Fiend. He was pushing by himself, and now here comes the Night Stalker. Has a Void, which we will use to interrupt the Requiem. I saw the Shadow Fiend's Requiem animation go off, but no souls are up. That's kind of depressing for him, and it's going to be a very easy kill on the Shadow Fiend. I don't know why he's this far up without any sort of help. Like, you know that the enemy team has mobility and then some. You can't afford to do that to the Shadow Fiend.
Cojones!
Yes.
It's all about them cojones. I mean, that's to be honest, they aren't even like that far ahead to have big ball syndrome. Usually when you're like winning, you're getting kills left and right, you're like, oh yeah, we can do anything, we're invincible, and then you get punished. But he hadn't even reached that stage really, or their team hadn't, so definitely an overextension on his part. Should have expected such a gank to come. Although it was daytime, maybe it was like, oh, Night Stalker daytime isn't gonna do anything, but that's not entirely the case.
Void is pretty much the exact same in the night as it is in the day, as far as it deals 255 damage. It does have a mini stun, so you can't get the Requiem off. You're not going to get that much done with that. There's a smoke going down towards the bottom lane. Unfortunately for Newbee.Y, they're not going to find anyone. Fortunately, they still have the Rubik and the Naga Siren smoke behind Piao, so they may be baiting for this Ember Spirit to go, and he's going to try to land some chains, which will ultimately fail. But it looks like that should just about be it. Smoke, rather unsuccessful, as VG potential are going to rotate a couple more heroes, or another hero in. It's going to be the Night Stalker. This time he does have level 6, and this is actually Artificial Darkness. Unfortunately for him, that's not going to work out for much longer.
Well, when it ends though, the normal nighttime should hit once more on the 12-minute mark, I believe, so should be just fine for him. And oh, they get the Shadow Fiend, the Silence is there as well, can't go for the Requiem, and do they have enough damage though at the moment? Doesn't feel like it, but Lina gets the Laguna Blade off just before the death, although Sonic Wave did a lot of counter damage in return, and looks like a 1-for-1. No, the long range ensnare, they're going to get dogfights as well.
But SC gets hookshot in the back line. He has a double damage rune, so he is manning up. You were talking about Konas earlier. That's some balls right there. They will fail to kill off the Night Stalker, but they will pick out the Winter Wyvern instead. Lin, though, going to join the fight. Straight to Melody Love as he goes. And Snoggy Siren doesn't have enough mana to stall. They're going to sleep, or put the curse onto the Queen of Pain. Try to bring her down. Searing Chain stolen. Will hold them back for a little while for the Queen of Pain to blink out. Looks like that will get her escape. And was that across the board an even trade, a 3-for-3? Storm Spirit arriving perhaps a little bit late to the party, yet still is going to collect huge off of that fight.
Oh, I see a Remnant wants to get more, but the blink from Queen of Pain a little bit too fast. Searing Change just didn't come out in time. Nice attempt nonetheless by the Ember Spirit. And with this, they might even be able to pressure this tier 1, at least force a TP or 2, force the glyph out early on as well. But Ember Spirit is out of remnants now, so Newbee, if they get to gank him, if they just close in early enough, they might even be able to kill the Ember Spirit as well.
Or it might be bait, because it is still nighttime for the Night Stalker. He's right around the corner, and well, if it's a 2v2, then yeah, Ember Spirit, Night Stalker, they could do some serious work, especially with no Sonic Wave to worry about. So maybe they're going to try to play for that angle VG potential, but while that's happening in the mid lane, bottom lane is being pushed, albeit very slowly, by this Winter Wyvern. But again, it's pretty much just bait across the board. VG Potential have the ability to do this because they do have a Storm, Ember, Clockwork, even Night Stalker can get into those fights really quickly. If one of their allies is in trouble, they have to survive for a small amount of time, and they could turn things around with reinforcements.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for an attempted reconnect. So you can do radio Dota for a little while, but hopefully it's gonna fix it. Usually it makes it worse on the first try, but
it makes it very, very bad, like for the first 5-10 seconds after the reconnect. And then afterwards, maybe Piao on top lane is alone as the Queen of Pain. She's going to get jumped and annihilated by the Storm Spirit Night Stalker combo. In the exact same position the Shadow Fiend died earlier. I don't know why Newbee.Y keep doing that, because it clearly isn't working for them. But I guess maybe they get a tier 1 tower in the mid lane. It's going to get fortified, and with the level 2 Sleight of Fist from the Ember Spirit, he will push everyone back. So Newbee.Y essentially just throwing away their Queen of Pain in order to get marginal amounts of damage onto this tower. And yeah, going for these towers is going to be certainly very nice for Newbee.Y. They really need to go as a full 5-man team with the Requiem, Song, and the Sonic Wave all at their disposal. Going in one at a time or getting picked off one at a time, definitely not a good idea ever, and especially when VG Potential are looking to smoke up right now. No, they're just going to group up as 5 and look for a fight. Okay, so it's time for a full 5-on-5 rumble.
Okay, so I managed to reconnect as well. Maybe a little bit better. Doesn't feel like a hell of a lot though. But just to not miss any action, and as long as it's like semi-watchable, I'm not gonna even reconnect because it can make it worse and we're just gonna miss everything.
Oh, speaking of worse, Rubik's in a terrible position right now. Gets pulled in by the Storm Spirit. He has a lift, which he will get off. Yang's going to be there with the Battery Assault, and they do have enough mana to go for this Rubik, but now no with that Song. Now SC has a brilliant Requiem opportunity, but they cancel the Song way too early. Gets silenced. SC is going to get curled off very easily. Sonic Wave through onto 2 will be very nicely put by Piao with the mechanism. They may get out of this fight yet. Ember Spirit, though, is going to arrive to this fight. Going to try to go for the Queen of Pain, but she does blink out straight towards Dogfight. She's already getting picked off. Double kill for Piao. That was a huge blunder from Newbee.Y, yet VG Potential just not with the amount of damage right now to really capitalize on that.
That fight, it started off really well for them. They almost brought down the Rubik there, I think. Somebody else dropped extremely low, may have been the Shadow Fiend, but suddenly pops the mech, they're all fine, and the Sonic Wave really beautifully angled as well by the Queen of Pain there. But does feel like I do have to go for another reconnect because things are getting pretty damn bad.
Alright, well, while you're doing that, the mid lane of VG Potential, the Dire Tier 1, is going to be brought down, denied by the Ember Spirit, however, and, well, Splinter Blast stolen. Going to try to look for some sort of initiation, Newbee.Y, but they don't really have the correct heroes for it. The tower is down. I suppose it's a nice little win for them. Taking that fight, as you said, really hinged upon landing that Sonic Wave. If they don't do that, then I'm pretty sure that just doesn't work out for them. Also, the Storm Spirit wasted a good amount of mana trying to go for a Rubik kill, which is most of the time going to happen, but forced them into a clumped up position between the Requiem and the Sonic Wave landing there. That would have been so much worse for VG Potential, so I guess they have to count their blessings and figure that, hey, they're still kind of alive after that fight. The score is only tied 11-11. VG Potential had a 3,000 gold lead now, or 3,000 gold lead in experience as well. Now it's going a little bit more towards Newbee. It's going to get very soon to a dead even game. So we'll see if Newbee can keep going with this advantage, because VG Potential with the Ember Spirit and Storm Spirit, these are very, very difficult heroes to deal with in the late game. Even if you do have on Newbee.Y's side, like the Lift, the LSA, like all these tools to deal with that, you have to have so many tools at the ready, at the right position at the right time, and it's very hard to gank these two as well. So Ember Spirit, Storm Spirit getting farm has to be on the top list of priorities for Newbee.Y. That's why you see them going for these pushes, because they know that they're on a timer with only a real Shadow Fiend as a heavy-hitting core, at least in the late game.
Yeah, it's just them running the Naga Siren as a pure support is what's holding them back, or at least their potential is just so much less due to that fact. And, well, although the Orchid is their Queen of Pain, so that might just be enough to deal with both the Ember Spirit or the Storm Spirit, or, well, one at a time, of course, but in general, as they are closing in on the Storm Spirit, they have a Laguna Blade ready as well. If they get the telekinesis, they might get the kill, but nope, Lin scouts it coming and ball lightning away, and this is gonna be just fine.
Static Remnant OP, dude. He was just farming with that skill, but his skill also told him that the enemies are coming. You know other skills that do that, like Rocket Flare, maybe sometimes. So OP. Nerf, please. Up towards top, though, they're going to go for this push because, hey, they already forced someone to TP back. And it seems like VG Potential are not going to risk it. The close quarters of a Tier 1 lane defense really bode well for Newbee.Y as far as Song of the Siren, Sonic Wave, and Requiem. So I like this decision from VG Potential to back off and not really touch this one.
It's probably the better choice as well, man. At the moment, you're doing fairly fine for yourself, so don't take unnecessary risks. You're getting farm on your cores. But Newbee, they're gonna push him for the tier 2 as well, and can VG also just forfeit this tower, or should they come and fight finally?
I think they could sacrifice this tier 2 if they get this mid tier 1, then for them, all things considered, it will still be fine. This tower up towards top is dropping very quickly though. Somehow SC found himself another double damage rune. Not really sure how this guy's doing it at the perfect time every single time. Orchid onto the Ember Spirit is going to do pretty much nothing except for deny the initiation in, but VG Potential weren't going to go in anyway. They now pop the Darkness from the Night Stalker. They do lose the tower, gain the mid lane tower. Again, overall, that should be okay for VG Potential. And Newbee, they should be feeling really good about how that push went, because that means that they could do the exact same thing to the other lanes.
Okay, I just got disconnected by the server pretty much, or it stopped for me. It was so fine for the first series I casted earlier on.
China, man. Blame China.
China.
As we like cast more of these Chinese games, seeing so many problems.
Can I blame Russia, because that's the country between me and China?
Yes. Blaming either of those two countries, most of the time, no one's really going to be too upset about it. At certain times, you could also blame the United States, but this isn't an oil situation.
Okay, then. I'm going to remember that one.
Okay, wait, hold on, because there might be a fight right now. Shadow Fiend walking into a bad neighborhood right now. Yang has a hookshot, sees him, but they don't know who's right around the corner. And this is as close quarters as you could possibly get, so really susceptible to that Requiem. Looks like everyone from VG Potential will back off.
So, I'm just seeing a nice Treant and Enchantress loading screen.
I'm sorry, that's the worst
beautiful.
loading screen.
That's beautiful, at least. I wish they made animated loading screens these days.
You'd think at this point they would. They're making freaking little tiny Aegises. Just make a gift screen of anything. It doesn't even matter. Well, nothing's happening in the meantime. Just Newbee.Y just setting up for this bottom lane push. And as I said before, they just clean up the entirety of the top lane. They're going to go for bottom. It is very easy to get initiated when you're going to be pushing down this bottom lane, because there are so many places to hide in these trees. But then when you get initiated like that, Song of the Siren, as long as that's not, being hookshot canceled or something like that, is very easy to cast, and then you can turn things around. So VG Potential, though they are in position for defense, I don't know if they're actually going to go for it. They're going to put this Ember Spirit out as bait, but Newbee.Y are definitely not biting. Newbee.Y are actually playing very, very well at this point.
So I'm going to have to keep on reconnecting until it all works out.
Okay, well, luckily for us, nothing's actually happening. We have a smoke up from the Dire side. Clockwork and land hookshot into Melody Lovers, jump in from the Storm Spirit as well. They have to take her out before the Song of the Siren, and they will. That leaves SC and Mer both in a bad position right now. Rubik steals the Void, but he is silent, so he can't get that one out with the Shatter Blast as well. Looks like Rubik, at the very least, is going to die. Cursed onto him as Dogfights. Going to cancel from him off to the side. Sonic Wave through onto 3. And Piao's going to grab a double kill instantly. Mer's still alive as James tries to glimmer out, and he will get out of there, but Piao, hot on his trail, will get the triple kill in the end. This Queen of Pain, man, has just been everywhere at the right place at the right time, and the Sonic Waves have always hit, like, on average, 2.5 heroes at least over the course of this game. It's been out of control.
Just really beautiful done, but it was also the Light Strike Array hitting those two same heroes that Queen of Pain definitely just demolished with that Sonic Wave to follow up. So also really well done by the Lina there, and it was, I think the Wyvern wanted to get the Winter's Curse so that it would also be in range. Oh, Queen of Pain just overextending, and Ember Spirit getting the kill like that. That's... I didn't even expect Queen of Pain to go poke anything after that, but that's just easy goal for the Ember.
You know how I said Newbee.Y are really playing well right now? I meant as a team, like as a 5-man unit, because their individual decisions of going places not really been good. Like right now, Mer's going to get caught by Lin. He's going to get picked off as well. Clockwork almost stealing that one. So if Newbee.Y just stop making those types of mistakes where they're off on their own, doing their own thing, then man, they were be in such a better position in this game, but instead, these pickoffs are keeping VG Potential in this game.
But now Newbee, if they want to go and force things, they will have the BKB and Shadow Fiend to just kind of back him up. 1.4k health, having that magic immunity as well coming in from the BKB, it's a pretty just nice security for yourself in the fights. But, Ember Spirit together with the Wyvern, they are going aggressive with the two of them, and oh, poor Lina, he is gonna get caught and probably should die as well. Indeed he is. Winter's Curse was even used just to ensure that it's not going to be able to just blow somebody up in return.
You might as well do that. Winter's Curse does have quite a bit of cooldown, but the chances of Newbee.Y making a play without their Lina pretty much low to 0 at this point. Ember Spirit did also use all of his spirits for that, so if he was to get ganked right now, he probably would just die. But now, VG Potential, they've been getting the picks kind of because Newbee.Y have been a little bit careless with their positioning. Can't really blame Lina for that one because that's a very safe position to be in most of the time. But overall, the mobility of VG Potential starting to kick into gear. They once again set up for a kill, but there are 4 heroes right around the corner. XL does not have a backup Remnant, I don't think. It's on cooldown, so yeah, he's gonna get caught by Melody Lovers. No, there's the net and the Orchid. Ember Spirit in a hell of a lot of trouble. Can't even get his shield up right now. Sonic Wave through, and the Orchid will pop him. At least for VG, James stays hidden, but again, this game has been plagued with heroes just going off on their own.
Just pushing so far. I have no idea what the end game is even. It's not like Ember Spirit. Well, I guess he's a decent split pusher as long as he has a defensive remnant somewhere, but he just didn't. Like you mentioned, he used all of them to just get a fast kill onto the Lina, and in the end dies himself. And even though the Wyvern TPs to the tier 2, don't think he can defend this tier 1 by himself.
Yeah, maybe deny if he's a super baller. Okay, he's way too far away for it. He could fly over the trees, so he'll be just fine. In the meantime, we have initiation onto Douyu. It's Yang this time. This Lina has had such a bad day. Why are they so mean to her? He's going to straight TP out as Mer's waiting for him to come up the hill, but that's not going to happen. Rubik making a pretty defensive play, I would say. Not super aggressive. I think that's the correct play to make, but ultimately Lina gets picked off for the up-team time. Newbee.Y, at least they get a tower from that one, but oh man, like, every single hero on VG Potential, except for maybe this Winter Wyvern, can solo kill this Lina at this point.
So what Lina has to do now is, well, he is, or she is pretty close to finishing the ults, that's definitely gonna help, but if she now gets 6 kills without getting a single assist or death, that's gonna be all calculated.
Yeah, she made a pact with a certain someone to get to this point. Not gonna say who, but I'm pretty sure you guys know.
And if you don't...
Yule Scepter is insane up against VG Potential. Like, it's great versus Clockwork. You can get rid of the slow from Void and the Crippling Fear as well. So, and obviously you don't get hit with this burst damage from VG Potential. Not super high, but Yule Scepter, when it is complete on Douyu, and it is very, very shortly, then yeah, the Lina is going to be a lot more resistant to everything that VG Potential have.
Oh, there is a smoke now. All 5 of Newbee coming in. Melody Lovers leading the charge. As soon as she spots somebody, maybe pops the Song of the Siren to just set things up properly, but then again, Queen of Pain is close by with that Orchid if necessary. If it's the Ember Spirit or a Storm Spirit, Orchid might just be enough. But James now, he's running around with a Glimmer Cape, so if it's close enough, and do we have the tech? Oh yeah, there is a gem on Queen of Pain, so Glimmer Cape would not provide safety.
And they just walked by a couple of wards on their way there, so they will clean that up. They did kill the wards without... well, VG Potential didn't see any vision in the area, so they may have an idea that they were smoked, but at this point, smoke is worn off. So it doesn't really matter all that much. Going for the pick-off strategy for Newbee.Y into this tower push. Again, that's how they have been operating. That's how their team should be operating. Unfortunately, not going to work out for them this time. And the split push from VG Potential is starting to ramp up. So this 5-man strategy of Newbee.Y, though it has worked so far in this game, is going to stop working slowly but surely, because they're going to have to defend up against the split push of a Battle Fury, Ember Spirit, and a Storm Spirit who can very easily get into these fights. Tier 2 tower, though, is going to be straight up push. This time SC does not have a double damage rune, pushing so slowly without that double damage rune, but it looks like this Tier 2 mid lane will probably die regardless.
It might be just a trait though, although Ember Spirit did need to back off for a second there, just because the creeps were coming in and didn't want to tank it himself for too long. Oh, mid lane they go in, Yang gets the hookshot and the power box. Oh, he's so low but stays alive.
Oh. No. Got killed by something. What the hell killed him?
I think the Shadow King killed him in Winter's Curse.
Oh yeah, that is correct. Melody Love is going to get blown up as well. Ember Spirit's going to draw that one. Now Douyu, he gets hit out of his TP. He's going to die as well. That's a 4-0 in favor of VG Potential. The difference in this fight compared to the last, initiation onto the Queen of Pain. That has never happened so far, and the blocking bar was unused because, well, she was just locked down the entire time. So VG Potential get the probably highest damage dealer off the board for Newbee.Y, and then the rest of everything just falls apart for the Radiant side.
And it's just how convenient. Oh, you just fought in the mid lane where the tier 1 used to be. Easy Roshan afterwards as well. They even have the minus armor. Although, as you can see, they don't still have the fastest Roshan lineup, but it's gonna be just fast enough for them. Newbee, death timers were like, well, for Queen of Pain at least, it was 56 seconds, so plenty of time for them to do Roche, and this is going to be Storm Spirit level 17 with 14 Blast Zone charges and the backup of Aegis.
And they took the gem, so an extra bonus on top of all of that. Newbee.Y, obviously, like, getting initiated upon is never really what you want to be doing. They just have to make sure to get the right hero on their team initiated upon. Unfortunately, I think that hero, like, kind of has to be the Shadow Fiend. Like, Shadow Fiend is durable enough to not outright die to that initiation, and will have the ability to pop Mech, BKB, and maybe get a Requiem off. You will have Song backup, like 4-stat backup from the Rubik, but that's a really hard sell, saying, okay, Shadow Fiend, you're the one who has to get initiated upon. Everyone else, they're just too burstable. They have to keep the Naga Siren alive. Killing off Rubik is a cakewalk for VG potential, so that's not even going to slow them down all that much. It's a very dangerous situation for Newbee.Y, and that's what happens when you're up against a team with this much initiation and this much mobility. You are put into these situations where you don't really have a great way to get into these fights, especially when you have no Song of the Siren for another minute. So in that minute, this tower is going to die.
Yeah, and if they choose to fight now, look at what Ember Spirit has in the bottle. A double damage rune, so with that, it just makes it so much more difficult for Newbee to go in and just hope to escape with their life. But we have seen really great ultimates by the Queen of Pain so far, so if she lands one of those again, that might be just what they need. But then again, all the heroes are getting pretty damn tanky on VG's side as well.
Yeah, they're just naturally leveling up. They have a Vlad's up on the Night Stalker, so with a Storm Spirit, Ember Spirit, Night Stalker lineup, that Vlad's can do some serious work. And they're actually sticking around. You don't expect this play very often if you're Newbee.Y. They may get caught up by this if they're not too careful. Or, okay, everyone's just going to show themselves. But, yeah, this is a very, very slow push from VG potential. Like, we saw how slow the Roshan was. Killing structures usually is about at the same rate of your team killing Roshan. So, yeah, they will not get that much done, but they will make a big jump in on Piao. Pops the BKB, Queen of Pain. She will be forced to TP out. That's a 10-second BKB charge. And Storm Spirit just spent a little bit of mana to do it.
Completely worth it. With the 14 Blast on charges, should have enough mana regeneration. Unless it just randomly starts spalling around elsewhere as well. But with the 3.1k gold in the bank, he can go for a Mystic Staff to just increase the mana pool straight out. Maybe goes for a Void Stone for extra mana regeneration as well. A
little bit of trouble. He's gonna steal the flying, so he's gonna get up to the high ground, but there's an Ember Spirit here right on top of the Rubik now. He will take him down. Here comes Lin. Hookshot into SC as well. He's gonna bring down the Shadow Fiend as a BKB. Can he even get it off? He will be able to, so there's a sleep at the same time as the curse. He's scraping TP out. Sonic Wave being armed will land onto XL right now. That'll be the death of the Ember Spirit, but the rest of the heroes, I don't know if they can withstand this, especially the Lin who gets Eul Sceptered up into the air. That's her own, but it will end up killing her in the end to something. I don't think she's getting out of this one. There's a 4-staff in 9 seconds. Uwe has pretty much nothing. So they take out the Ember Spirit, which I guess is pretty good for Newbee.Y, but they do use their song, so that is a pretty large opening for VG potential to make an aggressive play.
Yeah, unfortunately, even 30 plus minutes in, Naga Siren isn't even level 11, so still a 3-minute cooldown on that one. But all things considered, it could have gone much worse. The Song of the Siren really bailed them out, otherwise Shadow Fiend would have died, I think, like 99% there. That double damage coming in huge for the Ember Spirit like that as well, but they do scout out the Shadow Fiend, I think. Oh yeah, they get the hookshot as well, Power Cox, but there is a BKB and suddenly Clockwork ensnared up, 4-staff, not enough to save him, or didn't come out fast enough, and now James silenced up, but they still want to go for more Piao, silenced and stunned up, but pops the BKB, they're all gonna be just fine, or are they? Yep. Just blink away, and VG potential going just way too aggressive with without the Ember Spirit being there.
Yeah, the first initiation I think is fine. You can't really blame them for that. It's a really bad situation as Clockwork when you're stuck in your cogs and you have a Shadow Fiend with BKB winding up his ultimate. You're just like, oh shit, I'm just dead now. But yeah, going for that Shadow Fiend kill is understandable. Like if you get the kill, that's huge. You shut down the enemy, core carry. You have a chance to go for the last tier 2 tower in the top lane. Sending in the Night Stalker and the Storm Spirit after that, that was just a waste. Fortunately for VG potential, it doesn't actually cost them anything except for a 9-second BKB charge, which is still pretty steep as a cost. Newbee.Y get a little bit of an edge there, but no, Mer gets caught, pulled out of his cogs, and Lin is going to get this kill. Unless Ball Lightning stolen, no, it's Electric Vortex instead. Queen of Pain is incoming. Lin jumps to the high ground that will assassinate the Rubik, and that was stuck up here and is silenced, but Piao does not want to go up there, first of all, and does not have vision up there either, so Storm Spirit will be fine.
Oh, bottom lane though, there's the Eul Scepter, just uses it to TP out. Remnants are there, but Searing Change was already in cooldown. But even though he doesn't get the kill, can still just give some momentum towards the lane. Aegis is reclaimed in the meantime, but we have a Blink Dagger now on James. So if he wants to Winter's Curse somebody, it's just gonna be that much easier to get in position. Or of course can stay back and Cold Embrace somebody. But as we've already seen multiple times, there is so much magic damage on Newbee's side that Cold Embrace isn't probably enough to save you.
Yeah, Cold Embrace is not going to be as important as far as how he uses this Blink Dagger. The probably best usage of this Blink Dagger is I'm going to sit and wait until I see Naga Siren, and then Blink Winter's Curse her, because Naga Siren so far in this game, and as well as she should, has been holding the song until the curse has been deployed. So she's waiting to trade her ultimate for that curse, because, you know, once a target is cursed, typically heroes tend to focus that target, because duh, and that means they clump up. So if you have the song, or if you have the song to be in response to that curse, then you get a lot more options there. So if Winter Riven can shut that down with his own curse, then he'll save his entire team a lot of trouble.
Oh, massive item pickup now. Hex comes out under the Storm Spirit with 17 plus on charges, still has the regen as well. Oh wow, they get an easy tier 2. And if you're Newbee at the moment, I mean, you have some pretty decent farm on the Shadow Fiend as well as the Queen of Pain, but Queen of Pain, you rely rather heavily at the moment with those items on actually landing that Sonic Wave. And it's just the fact that 3 of their heroes effectively act as supports, the Lina, Rubik as well as the Naga Siren as well. If only Lina had more farm, had like an Aghanim Scepter, things could be so much better, but well, she just doesn't.
And she's not really close to that one as well. Has a point booster potentially in her inventory right now. But at this point, the enemies are right outside your door. You may even have to save for buyback, and that's really costly at 35 minutes in the game. You never really want to be saving for buyback, like ever, because that gold is actively doing nothing in your inventory. So you want to be spending that on items, but Newbee.Y, they're bottled up in their base right now. They know that if they leave on an individual basis, odds are there's going to be a Storm Spirit and or a Clockwork and or an Ember Spirit right on top of them in just a matter of seconds. So leaving their base, super risky. They are going to leave with a couple of heroes, and this time they're not going to be punished, but it's really going to cut into where they can farm. No, never mind, they are going to be punished. Big ball ending in from Lin. Douyu is going to get sheeped up. No Yule Scepter just yet, especially with the Storm Spirit. Hacking that BKB. Lina down. That's an 8-second BKB charge for a Lina. VG Potential may want to make a play off of that. Unfortunately, there's no Roshan for them, so they have to go for a tier 3 push, and I don't know if they quite have enough for that.
So 36 minutes in, I think it's fine for VG to just close in from 2 lanes, keep on pushing away, just poking at the towers. As long as they just keep Newbee in their base and prevent them from really farming, while just farming 2 lanes yourselves at least, plus maybe the enemy jungle as well, and doing some chip damage to the towers. Eventually, it is gonna break the base as well, but they're just relaxing back. Do they have any key items coming out? They had the Hex now, Dogfights, does have an Overclub, but needs about like 1.6k gold to actually finish the BKB, unless it's gonna be an Aghanim, in which case he needs even more. So they don't really have like any items to wait for immediately at least, but
yeah, that's not really an item, but it's kind of an item if the Ember Spirit is going to play a successful bait roll. The rest of VG thinking about actually going down to this bottom lane, but they're getting a lot of free damage on this tower. Their mid lane is farming, and top lane should be pushing in. It's actually going to be pushing towards the Dire base very slowly, so that's pretty much a break even up towards top. Ember Spirit can do this all freaking day, man. Like, as long as he has a remnant backup, and he does, sooner or later, someone on Newbee is going to get caught with chains out of position, then Storm Spirit could jump in and assassinate that target, or force out the song, in which case BKBs and disengage from VG Potential. So Newbee.Y, they may just want to abandon this bottom lane because they're doing nothing there, but they really have to stay, because if they don't, this tower is just going to fall for free.
Well, they definitely cannot give it away for free. They're already falling behind somewhat. There's almost a 10k net worth deficit now for them. XP also 10k plus already. So if they just let this tier 3 fall... Oh, the jump comes in, the Hex onto the Sheriff in the Electric Vortex, but a nice Light Striker, a Laguna Blade as well, the Silence to follow, and the Telekinesis to just finish it up. He's going to respawn pretty damn fast, but can they also get the Ember Spirit? Nope. Had the Remnant, gets to safety, but this Storm Spirit should have preemptively BKB'd.
Yeah, I don't really know a scenario where you are going to jump up to the enemy's tier 3 without putting up a BKB. Like, even expecting like a Song of the Siren or something, like that has such a huge range, you're going to be blocking it with that BKB, at least for enough time to get yourself out of there, but he was just asking for trouble by not doing that. As you said, fortunately he has so many Bloodstone charges that it's not going to punish him a huge amount, but still, that could have been potentially a Shadow Fiend pickoff, and that opens the doors really wide for the VG potential side. You may force buyback out of that, in which case, totally worth it. They're looking for Piao right now, but looks like Storm Spirit, he's not going to jump for this.
Yeah, gonna play it safe for now, doesn't want to lose any other Blossom charges. Plus, Roshan is already being attempted. Nice Stalker, although he has the Vladimir's offering, it doesn't provide himself quite enough lifesteal to just break even with the Roshan, so maybe needs the Ember Spirit to come in, tank a little bit as well. Just take turns tanking up lifesteal while the other one is doing so. Plus, they need extra damage into the Roche pit anyway, unless they want to just be there for days.
Well, I mean, they're not really in that much of a rush. Newbee.Y are still seen protecting their base. You do kind of have to be scared of a Song Initiation in the Roshan pit, because then Sonic Wave and Requiem get ridiculous, but really Newbee.Y, they're not in any position to comfortably leave their base, so this is going to be a free Aegis for Storm Spirit. Next time he makes that jump, he doesn't have to pop the BKB first. He could force out all those skills, the Orchid, the Lift Up, the Laguna Blade, and we'll just pop right back up for round 2. So off of this item pickup, VG Potential may want to go in for an actual push, not that just this slow siege type strategy. Unfortunately for them, there's going to be 2 big items waiting for them. Butterfly completed on Shadow Fiend, that means he has no buyback, and there's also a Sheep Stick on Queen of Pain. So now Newbee.Y actually have a way of initiating.
Yeah, and while they waited this as well, I mean, last time Storm Spirit, there was no Hex against him, but still got just chain stunned to Oblivion. But this time around it's going to be even harder, although for a second I thought he's going to jump somebody, but just wants to farm the creeps. And he does have quite a bit of gold himself as well, 2.2k now, has 2.1k health. Do you think it's going to be Shiva's next, just expand on your mana pool even further?
Yeah, having the extra mana pool is really nice, but I'm not sure if the armor is really what you want here. Maybe since he sees Butterfly and Shadow Fiend, he'll get that, considering, well, Shadow Fiend does hit pretty hard, but he already has 13 armor on the Storm Spirit. I think you could afford to go for another potentially aggressive item on Lin. I'm not exactly sure what item that will be, however. Like, yeah, that seems like decent-ish, I guess.
I mean, up against the Butterfly...
For Lincoln's?
Huh. Lincoln's might not even be too bad. I mean, yes, you might get 4 staff, but Rubik might just struggle with it. Then again, Fateful, Fuel Scepter, Shadow Strike. It's not the worst item, to be honest. It gives you a little bit of tankiness from the ultimate or component of it. I suppose
it makes it so that the Blink Sheep is bad now, if he gets Lincoln's.
Yeah, that's true enough indeed. I mean, although Orchid could just pop the Lincolns and then Hex straight after.
Yeah, I mean, both those items come out really quickly, but I feel like that type of item, like, it is kind of defensive, but it enables him to be offensive. He's going to jump right in, this time with the BKB prep, and he'll go straight for the Rubik right now. Rubik not going to get back up from the Song, but will be fine to actually force that out. Curse onto Douyu. She's going to die to her own allies. No Song that time. Okay, it's not exactly a Song on the Siren, but Curse on the Siren, but it's just as good. Also, Ember Spirit has a double damage rune, so VG Potential may want to go in for round 2 very shortly. Cold Embrace will get the Storm Spirit back up to fighting shape. Has no BKB, however, so it's for the 10th time now, just to pick off on the Lina. Poor girl.
Well, at least Storm Spirit has the Aegis, so it doesn't need to be as afraid, especially now that XLL. He's gonna have a Daedalus finished up as well on the Ember Spirit, so we'll start getting those huge crits most likely. And it's a huge spike in power, to be honest. It just gives you pure raw damage, and on top of that the possibility to crit as well. And well, Shadow Fiend, he's up to 3.4k gold. I swear I just purchased that Butterfly and didn't have buyback.
Yeah, he was like 900 gold away from buyback, and that was him farming while his base was actively being pushed, and even dove in the tier 3s. He now, well, again, doesn't have buyback, but he's very close, and he does have the Helm of the Dominator as well, so SC will need some sort of answer from the VG Potential side. Crippling Fear is really good up against the Shadow Fiend at this point, since he doesn't have an MKB, but you never really want to be using Crippling Fear up against the Shadow Fiend, especially when he does have the BKB, so VG Potential don't really have any great answers to the Shadow Fiend, except for initiate on him and hope you have enough to burst him down.
Yeah, we're really getting to a point where Night Stalker isn't providing all that much to his team. If he had an Aghanim Scepter, it would be a whole different story, because the vision is just massive, but well, he doesn't have it, and although he can just run in with a BKB, I haven't seen him do that or do so enough. But oh, Storm Spirit with the Hyperstone running around, might indeed be the AC, but look at this smoke, they're so prepared for this. But it does get scouted out, Hex comes out nonetheless, but a nice Clockwork hookshot lands on 2, Storm Spirit goes into those 2 as well. They will get the Lina down once more, they get the Rubik next, and dogfights. He is caught, but he's just fine in the Cold Embrace, healing up more than he's taking damage. But there's the silence of the Storm Spirit. He's just gonna lose his Aegis.
Wow, a 3-man hookshot coming in from Yang, just slowing him down. Ui's standing his ground, trying to pick off this Night Stalker, but he's gonna fall short, I think. Yeah, Night Dogfights looks like he's just fine. Now Ui slowed down by the cold, and Lin's gonna jump for SC in the meantime. The Shadow Fiend has Lifesteal. He's gonna put up a fight, but not enough of a fight. Lin's still surviving. Tier 4's not gonna do it, and then he gets embraced. That's a 5-for-0 exchange. Super value from this Clockworks hookshot. Yang in this fight was absolutely on point. Sonic Wave only hit one target. Plus, they initiated on a Shadow Fiend. They jumped in with the Storm, pulled him back, sheeped him, everything in the book, and he just couldn't get his BKB off in time. So he took the initial brunt, and that's just not good enough for Newbee.Y. They're going to lose probably 2 sets of Raxes here.
Yeah, looking at the buyback stat, the Shadow Fiend, the only one to have it, but that's just not nearly enough. Maybe, well, never mind, doesn't have Requiem, does buyback, and him with the Naga Siren. They're going to have to be enough to defend, but I think all they can defend is just the tier 3s. Oh, they get chopped! There's the Hex as well. It's going to be Melody Lovers, probably losing this life. BKB by Storm Spirit just in case, but oh, they lack the vision. Glimmer Cape too strong.
Night Stalker has a gem, and he's so fast. Get in there, Night Stalker, you coward. Should be charging in there, but it doesn't matter. Naga Siren surviving is not going to do anything in the grand scheme of things, because there are racks and a half up, and with melee racks taken in the mid lane, range racks is most of the time going to follow shortly after. End result, as far as items are concerned for VG potential, there is the MKB on the Storm Spirit, plus a Hyperstone. That is not the build-up you would really see on a Storm Spirit all the time, but hey, it does work. 2,700 gold on the Night Stalker, 3,100 gold on the Clockwork. There's a Refresher Orb almost completed from James. I've never seen that before. And another 4,800 on the Ember Spirit, so VG potential cashing in.
Wow, indeed, Refresher Orb, Winter Wyvern, that's that's a sight to behold, and to be honest, lockdown-wise, and even the ability to just make your, or make the enemy's teammates damage themselves, it's gonna be fun times. But this Ember Spirit is gonna start hurting so much. In only 100 gold, gonna have an MKB of his own as well. And actually about the Storm Spirit, he had the Hyperstone before the last fight, and after the last fight went for the Monkey King bar. So probably had something else in mind, or maybe really just wanted the attack speed.
Maybe you go AC with this one. Like, I don't see him going for anything else. Moonshard seems pretty bad compared to AC, especially when you're going for tier 3s. The minus armor and Assault Cuirass, and the plus armor for your creep wave to a lesser extent, super helpful. They're going to run straight into Newbee.Y potentially. Yang does not have vision up here, is going to throw a flare, and that's going to see him. Ui, he's going to jump right in, gets sheeped up immediately, but Lin's going to jump in, assassinate the Lina, Sonic Wave onto 2, but it's only the Clockwork right now. They still have the Ember Spirit, who is closing in. Curse right now, going to lock down Piao. He's going to get killed off by his allies. Secondary Curse, primed and ready. That's going to lock down another. Melody Lovers dropping low, can't get the Song off. He will, but only for a little bit. And Dogfights now with XL going to go straight towards SC. He is all alone. He will go down, trying to bring down James, and he will fall short. That's 60 HP survival on the Wyvern and the Storm Spirit both. That's GG called.
Just really well played, especially by James on the Winter Wyvern. First Embrace just wrecked. I think it was the Lina got killed by the Shadow Fiend like that. Then just the second one making it so that they just have to stay in place, and those Cold Embraces made it so that Shadow Fiend suddenly doesn't do any damage at all.
Clockwork taking all that fire to start off that fight is pretty much exactly what VG potential wants. Like, you don't really want to lose your Night Stalker that early, because then you lose the Crippling Fear and the Vlad's aura. Clockwork lands a hookshot, does everything he needs to do. That's good. Everyone else can follow up after. That's actually really a bad position for VG potential to take that fight, but at this point, when they're that far ahead, you could afford to fight in a bad position and you could still come out ahead.
Yeah, and also he managed to bait out the Hex onto himself, so that was also just an extra benefit. Yes, he dies, but at least there's no Hex onto the Storm Spirit or the Ember Spirit, and they can just go kind of roam freely in those fights. But guys, this was only game number 1 of this 2-game series, so we're gonna have exactly one more game coming up regardless of the outcome of it. So hopefully you have enjoyed the casting so far, and if you have, be sure to check us out on HeflaTV on both Facebook and Twitter, and of course the casters themselves, or ourselves, Couchor for me, at Mikelorus for my co-caster. Also, the names are in the title on Twitch if you want to know how they're exactly spelled out. But guys, we'll be back with game number 2 in just a couple of minutes.